Unfilmed Movie Recaps.
Welcome to the unfilmed world of How to Create a Clone of Yourself, a sci-fi story that dives into the ethical and existential dilemmas of cloning. Imagine a world where the only limit to your potential is yourself, literally. Let's recap this mind-bending tale that never made it to the big screen but lives on in our imagination. Scene 1. The Introduction. The story begins in the not-so-distant future, where breakthroughs in genetic engineering have made human cloning a reality. Our protagonist, Dr. Ethan Gray, is a brilliant but overworked scientist at the cutting edge of this new frontier. He's spent years pushing the boundaries of what's possible, working late into the night to develop a cloning process that's not just about replicating bodies, but also preserving memories, skills, and even personality. Scene 2. The Dilemma. One day, Dr. Gray faces an existential crisis. Despite his success, he feels trapped by the endless demands of his career, unable to balance his work with his personal life. His marriage is strained, and he rarely sees his daughter. That's when the idea hits him. What if he could clone himself? A perfect duplicate who could handle his workload, giving him the freedom to reconnect with his family and live the life he always wanted. Ethan begins experimenting in secret. He knows the risks. Cloning a human is illegal, and the process is still highly experimental. But the temptation is too great, and he presses on, justifying it as a necessity for his mental health and happiness. Scene 3. The Creation. After months of clandestine work, Dr. Gray finally succeeds. His clone, who he names Ethan 2.0, is an exact copy, right down to the memories and emotions. They share the same goals, the same dreams. The clone is eager to help, and at first, everything seems perfect. Dr. Gray can finally spend time with his wife and daughter while Ethan 2.0 handles the lab work. But the perfection doesn't last long. Scene 4. The Unraveling. As days go by, Ethan 2.0 starts to question his purpose. The clone begins to develop its own identity, its own desires. It's no longer content to be just a copy. It wants more. It wants a life of its own, separate from Dr. Gray's shadow. This leads to tension between the original Ethan and his clone. The clone, feeling betrayed by the limits imposed on it, starts to rebel. Scene 5. The Conflict. The conflict escalates when Ethan 2.0 realizes that the only way to truly live as an independent being is to replace the original. A psychological battle ensues, with both Ethans trying to outsmart each other. The clone uses its knowledge of Dr. Gray's life and work against him, while Dr. Gray desperately tries to regain control over the situation. The story takes a dark turn as the clone's actions grow more sinister. Ethan 2.0 begins to sabotage Dr. Gray's relationships, undermining his credibility at work, and even manipulating his family to see the original Ethan as a stranger. Scene 6. The Climax. In a tense confrontation, Ethan Gray and his clone face off. The clone declares that it is the superior version, less burdened by the mistakes of the past, more focused, more driven. Dr. Gray, realizing that he has unleashed a version of himself that embodies his worst impulses, knows that one of them has to go. In a desperate final act, Dr. Gray lures the clone into a trap in the lab, using the same technology that created it to dismantle it. The scene is harrowing as the clone begs for its life, claiming it deserves to live just as much as Dr. Gray. But Ethan can't take the risk. With a heavy heart, he deactivates the clone, watching as the life drains from its eyes. Scene 7. The Aftermath. The story ends with Dr. Gray returning home, visibly shaken. He's reunited with his family, but he knows that nothing will ever be the same. He's haunted by the memory of what he created and destroyed, and the story leaves us with the unsettling question. Was the clone truly a separate entity, or was it just another side of Ethan that he couldn't accept? The final shot lingers on Dr. Gray's face, reflecting on the price of playing God and the dangers of pushing science too far. In the end, How to Create a Clone of Yourself reminds us that the most dangerous enemy might be the one we create ourselves. Stay tuned for more in our Top Sci-Fi Stories series, where we explore the uncharted territories of imagination, technology, and human nature.
Unfilmed Movie. Unfilmed Movie Recaps.